Let me see what we got here. Okay, Charles, you told me your name, your birth date. That little light in there means that we're recording. Let me come over there. Charles, you are Charles Cummings.
Correct.
And when were you born, Charles?
October the 4th, 1934.
Where were you born, too?
Huntington, West Virginia.
And is that house still there?
Yes.
Is it?
Matter of fact, down from the new bridge,
Is
two
it?
doors down, 31st Street.
You see it every time you go?
Oh, yeah, I take my son over there once in a while.
Okay. And your present address, though, what is that?
633 Hillsdale in Wheelersburg.
Wheelersburg?
Why, are you going to have a telecast?
Yeah, sure, yeah. We'll be up later for dinner. But we're recording here at Shawnee State University, aren't we? And I think this is, what's this called, the Fine Arts Building or something like that? What's your occupation?
I'm retired.
Okay.
I ride a bicycle.
I saw that. I saw that coming. What are you retired from?
I was a teacher at Paul Blazer High School in Ashland, Kentucky.
Okay. And how much education have you had?
The courtesy of the United States Army, with
Yes.
my GI Bill,
Yes?
I have a BA, a master's, and a rank 1, and I went on to Murray State University, believe it or not, and got some on teaching the disabled how to drive.
Okay. Now, are you married, single, divorced, widowed, separated, all the above? All the above?
All the above, but I'm married right now.
And presently you're married. I'd kind of like to get a little genealogical line here. What were your parents' names?
My mother's name was Exina.
How's that?
Exina. And if you remember the Russian family, the one with Bang Bang, it was just shot during the Revolution.
Heard about that.
One of the daughters was named Exina. And really, I did not know where she got her name, but it's Greek.
Okay.
And it was quite interesting.
What was her
How
maiden-
those old people, Atkins.
Exina Adkins
Yes.
was her maiden name.
Yes,
Okay.
so her mother, those were the movie stars of that day, the royalty and the,
Okay.
yeah.
What was your father's name?
Yule Edwin
Yule
Cummings.
Okay. Do you know his parents' names?
Eb Cummings and Maud Cummings. Her maiden name was Maud Spurlock.
What were your mother's parents' names? You didn't know there'd be a test, did you?
Oh, what?
You're getting an
Caleb
A.
Atkins,
What was it?
Caleb Atkins.
Caleb?
And my real grandmother was burned in a barn trying to save tobacco. I keep on trying to remember what. I want to get a May in there somewhere or another.
Mail pouch?
But my step-grandmother was named Sarah.
Okay. Do you have your tree written down somewhere? Is that?
No, my grandfather, that became his hobby when he retired.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And if somebody were to look for that, then where would they find it? With your grandfather?
in my basement under tons and tons of
Okay.
crap I keep.
Okay. Do you have children?
One that I know of.
Okay.
Son's Kelly.
What was his name?
Kelly.
Kelly.
Kelly Paul.
And is he married? Does he have
He
children?
was. He's divorced. And,
Okay, does he
I
have
have a
children?
granddaughter.
What's her name?
Madison Margaret.
And is she married? Was
She's
she
in the
about-
second grade. Yeah, she's
Well,
in,
is
still
she
in the
married?
first grade.
Say yes or no.
No.
Now, your wife's name, what is her name? Which one is it? What's her name?
Mary Elizabeth.
Mary Elizabeth, okay. Now, you were in the service in the Army.
Yes.
What branch of the Army were you in?
Branch.
Oh, well, you know.
I was in the Army. I
were
was
you
in
in
the
the
Army, and
infantry?
I was in the infantry. I was in the armored infantry.
Okay. Did you enlist? Were you invited?
I enjoy. I joined. My homeroom teacher in high school, was the company commander of Company B in the 456th Field Artillery Battalion. And he caught me, I was looking at a map, trying to learn something.
Yeah.
And we talked about the invasion of Russia and so forth, and he talked me into coming down and look at the, I joined the National Guard.
Okay. When did you join?
Well, I don't know. That would have been about I guess I was a senior then.
Okay. Senior in high school?
That would have probably been, yes, I would have probably been a senior then. That would have probably been about October of that year, I don't know.
When did you graduate from high school?
1953,
And where did you graduate from?
Huntington East High School.
So in 1953, thereabouts, you went down and joined the National Guard.
About 1950. I would say I joined the National Guard in 1952.
When were you discharged from the service?
Well, now, discharge and being separated are two different things. You're not discharged until years later.
Okay.
I was separated on February the 12th, 1957.
Okay. And what was your rank when you were?
Oh, that's a sore spot.
You went up and down a couple times.
I was a spec fourth, what they call, you had the ruptured eagle with an umbrella over it. All right, now that's a stripe.
Okay.
And that was the same as a sergeant. The company commander in Korea, he took a shine to me because I took over a big, important exercise that was happening when the head sergeant got drunk, and I had sent him out in the Jeep, and I took charge, and he promoted me for that.
Where did you do your basic training?
Fort Knox, Kentucky.
What was it, about 8 weeks at that time? Or how
Yes.
long?
Yeah, I had two different types of basic training.
Okay.
And I was in the infantry, so it had been a total of 16 weeks. But you had to leave in between after the first.
Then did you have advanced training after that?
That was advanced training.
Okay, so you did your basic.
You had your basic, and then you went to advanced.
At the same place?
Yes.
That's at Fort Knox? Okay. Now, after you were finished with that, where did you go?
They shipped me to Fort Hood, Texas. And you just take your finger, take a great big map of Texas. Take your finger and put it right smack dab in the middle of Texas, and you got Fort Hood.
And nothing's there then?
And you'll see, nothing's there except a little place called Killeen, Texas. That's where that guy went for the newsie in a restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
And a little place called Temple,
Okay.
Texas.
How long were you at Fort Hood?
Approximately 1 year.
And what did you do there? You don't have to
I
tell
had
me
volunteered for NCO school. What you have to understand is I joined the Army. I was not drafted. I had every intention of making the Army in my career. But I wanted to do it as an officer. Now, after I got out of high school, I went to college.
Oh, I see.
I had 1 semester of college.
Okay.
Of which, I have ads. You know what ads are?
No, I don't know.
That's attention deficiency disability syndrome. So something like that.
Say that again, it went over me.
Well, if I like something, I'll pick it up just like that, so I'm not
Okay.
stupid.
All right.
But you get up and talk something about, I don't know, the Renaissance
While you were
I
at Fort
I
Hood,
just can't keep with it.
is that where you did your armor training at Fort Hood? What
Yes.
was the deal there?
I beg your pardon?
That's what you did, armor there?
Well, yes, I learned how to drive one of those armored personnel carriers. We called them armored personnel capsules.
Capsules?
But I had volunteered to go into NCO school,
Okay.
and they just loved that because everybody hated that. Everybody made fun of us. When you are raised in the armpit of the world, like a place like Sias, West Virginia, you wanted to get out and see the world. And you don't have money. Now, I never had a hungry day in my life. I have to say this. I'll be upfront about it. But, when you don't have money and you don't have clothes, you're not going to go to college.
So who made fun of you?
Well, all the guys from New York, you know, the ones from the
Oh, those-
cities,
I know those people.
and the ones who had the college education and all that.
Hate
junk,
'em,
you
hate 'em.
know,
Okay. Well, then you were there for a year. And you were at Fort Hood for a year.
Yeah, approximately. I asked the first sergeant, I said, look, I'll go to NCO school. And then when I got out, then they said, well, you're such a good guy, we're going to send you to cryptology school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have ads. Do you think I paid attention to that stuff?
I don't know.
I didn't know anything, but they passed me.
Good.
That was the Army at
That's
that
the
time.
Army way.
That was the Army way. I learned a lot about the Army then.
Uh-huh.
That was when I started coming downhill on the Army.
Uh-huh.
Too many guys that showed their
End of the
guts,
career.
and they had the balls to get out and do something in that war
Mm-hmm.
and lead. And then when they came back, and they gave them stripes, gave them all the privileges, and after the war's over, they came back, and they would find any kind of chicken way to take their stripes away from them. And anybody who couldn't, just because they were over 35, if they had the stripes, it didn't make any difference if they could just barely write their name. They became sergeants.
I'll be darned.
And it really, it was sickening. I mean, you know, you had to take orders.
Yeah, you do. And so after then, where did you go?
I requested to be sent overseas. I've seen all these people being sent overseas. I did not want to go to Iceland. I did not want to go to Alaska.
Too cold.
I wanted to go to Europe.
Did you want to go to Korea?
And then when they said I was going to go to the Far East,
That's not Europe.
that is not Europe.
So where did you end up?
Well, I like this story. I'm in this line up there
You're in this line
in
and what-
Washington.
Okay. And what is Europe and what is...
Right. I'm in this line, and there's Korea, 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 and they look at my MOS, that cryptology. Hey, aren't they sending us? Okinawa. Loved it.
Okinawa.
Best duty you ever saw in your life. Oh, we had houseboys. We didn't lift a finger. We didn't pull a cape.
Were you married at the time?
Lord, no.
Okay.
I was 19 when I joined the Army.
Great. Well, listen, what does a 19-year-old soldier do when he's on leave in Okinawa?
Well, I was about 20 back then, 20.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, it's
About
okay.
20 then.
You drink beer.
Mm-hmm.
You drink beer and eat pickled pig feet at the PX.
That sounds good.
And
You
they
do that
played
at the
slot
same
machines.
time?
Oh, we were living,
Pull
hey,
the
we
slot,
were
drink
living
beer, eat
great.
a Bigfoot.
I'm living better than any time I did in my life.
Did you ever want to go back?
You bet.
Okay. How long were you in Okinawa?
Oh, this is sad. About
Not long enough?
4 months, 4 or 5 months.
Hmm.
We were out on the firing range one day, and they said, anybody want to volunteer to be in a sharpshooter contest? Lord, no, we don't want to clean those M1 rifles. No, this one, I do.
You
In
said I did?
December. No, it wasn't me. I'm sorry,
Some
I didn't.
other-
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Some bozo.
But I was too smart. I didn't want to clean those M1s and go up and splash those targets.
Mm-hmm.
That's work. Come December, he said, boys, I was in an outfit known as Merle's Marauders. It was left over from World War II, very famous, very famous. Got news for you, the outfit's coming to an end. Sorry, you're going to Korea. We left for Korea in January.
January of what year was it?
That would have been January 1956. Now, the war had been over. And I want to make it clear right now, I want to make it painfully clear. I was not in the shooting war.
Okay. You didn't shoot anybody either by accident or otherwise?
No, I had a gun out one time getting ready to shoot a slicky boy. Slicky boy are people come out of the hill, the Koreans come out of the hill and steal from you.
Oh, okay. That must have made you
That was
mad.
the first and only time I was sergeant of the guard, and naturally it had to happen to me.
Well, you got to Korea then in January of 56 or 7, did you say? 50?
Yeah,
Something
about
like that.
56, yeah.
Okay. And the war had been over, but what was that like over there at that time? A lot of wreckage and stuff?
Oh, yeah. So if I remember distinctly, we got on those trucks after we got off the boat. And my first taste of Korea was looking at Weejamboo. It was gray. Wooden gray. It did not give the reflections of being Oriental at all.
Weejamboo was a city, was it?
Yes.
Okay.
And we got up there, we were crossing near the Imjim River. And my first taste of Korea was to see somebody get out and use the bathroom. Now, he had a shirt and tie on, parked his car and just got up and used the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm quite sure I've done that too.
Mm-hmm.
But,
He had a tie.
yes, it was all the difference in the world. None of us in the truck could understand that, you know. But we got a cultural shock there
Mm-hmm.
about what goes on in that country.
Was this an American with the tie or
No,
a
it was a
Korean?
Korean.
Okay, Korean with the tie. And then where did you go when you got into Korea? When was your bases, I guess, your
Oh,
duty
I'm
station?
sorry. Yeah,
You crossed the river?
yeah, we went to I forgot what they call them right now, a rebel depot or something like that, but they sent me to some god-awful place. I can remember the name, I forgot the number, but the infantry battalion was the White Buffalo.
White Buffalo
White
Infantry.
Buffalo Battalion. We were 13 miles down below the DMZ line.
Mhm.
And it was miserable. It was cold.
January.
This is January.
Yeah.
When the general came to welcome us, and I'm not reflecting on anybody's physical being, but he was a sawed-off runt. He was the smallest general in the Army. His name was Caraway.
Caraway.
He carried a little baseball bat with all the emblems of all
Emblems.
the outfits he was in.
Oh.
And he had his general's leather, they give everybody who's promoted to a general, they will give them a belt with a 32 automatic pistol, you know, Colt.
Mhm.
He was carrying that. And he was just a little, I'm quite sure he was a tough little son of a gun. But before we had got to Korea, a hooch burned down.
Hooch is a house?
Yeah, well, yes,
Korea?
it's how you slept.
Or,
I mean,
or Okinawa.
yes, right. No, we're in Korea now. And it's their own fault. These guys, the stoves were pot-bellied stoves, and they had a rubber hose leading to the outside, and oil would shoot in.
Mhm.
And they could put that adjuster down in what we call Chinese overdrive. And the flame would shoot up, and literally, the top of the stack would get white hot. Now, obviously, that's going to burn down, and some people are going to be killed, unfortunately. So, General Caraway decided, by gosh, that's not going to happen again. Ergo, no more fires at night. Now, to make sure you didn't have a fire, then they gave us extra guard duty, which was a pain in the neck.
Mhm.
It was just terrible.
And that
And
was
it
the-
was so cold. And, you know, you always hear these historians on the television say, it was the worst winter, and it was the worst summer, it was the worst this, that. And this afternoon I was watching about hurricanes. It was the biggest and the worst hurricane of the century coming in. You know, come on, give me a break. Better than that.
That was
But
cold.
it was cold
It was
because
cold.
that year, something like 23 or 24 Republic of Korea soldiers froze to death. Now, I was wearing my long johns, naturally, and they issued us a new set of uniforms, which I had never seen before, which were completely wool. Now, I was in my winter sleeping bag, and they issued us not 2 blankets, but 3 blankets in Korea. You got 3 blankets. Now, under those 3 blankets, underneath in your sleeping bag and underneath the 3 blankets, you put your field coat over it.
Mhm.
Not field jacket, but your long field coat over it and your parka. I'm telling the truth, I'm not exaggerating, you still were cold.
Pretty cold.
Yes,
Well, and no fire at night either.
no fire. How we had to shave. We had to put our jerry can. A jerry can is just a left over from World War II expression. It held 5 gallons. We'd put water in it, and we'd put it up next to the fire, and it would warm, and it did a good job. But that winter, we did not have showers. We had to take what was called a horse bath. That was just your wash raggy, the first thing you bought was a basin. And that's how you bathed.
That's how you cleaned up.
Because we did not have showers. They were all frozen. The creeks were frozen. We had creek water. Of course, they would swirl it around and it would be purified. We'd drink that and cook with it and everything else. The clothes naturally became dirty. And after about 2 weeks, I decided I couldn't wear my underwear anymore. 2 weeks. 14 days.
14 days?
Right. I took my underwear off, put my clean ones on.
It changed every 14 days.
And then after another 14 days, no more underwear.
Oh,
So I took a look at the first underwear and said, hey, those are not all that dirty, and I put those on. But
that's a step up, wasn't it?
It was cold. That blast of wind coming out of Siberia. We had taken in a little Korean boy. We adopted him. And Johnny. I more or less took him under my wing. But we had to get rid of him.
Had to send him home?
Yeah, commanding. He didn't have a home. He was an orphan.
I see.
So I had to take him down to Seoul and put him in an orphanage. I hated that. That's the way the cookie crumbles.
What kind of unit were the White Buffaloes?
Infantry. We were infantry.
Well, where does the armored infantry come in? Where's the armored part?
Well, when I got out of when I was shipped overseas, I left the armored division for the Street 7th Infantry Division.
7th
So
Infantry.
forget about armored.
Okay.
And but after about, I don't know. Remember, I have an MOS, says I'm a cryptograph. I work in cryptograph.
But you got ads.
But I have ads. There's no way I could do that. And of course, fortunately, there were 2 other guys who could do it. But anyway, they had a surplus of my, fortunately for me, see, I ran into luck. I ran into a lot of luck in the Army. Fortunately for me, my MOS was, it was just a glut of my MOS. And they said, well, we're going to send you to the signal company. Thank goodness. I left the White Buffalo and went to Camp Casey.
Camp Casey?
Yes. And it was about 30 miles from Weejambu.
That's where the signal guys are.
Things were a lot better in Camp Casey.
Did you go to Camp Stanley?
Never heard of it.
All right.
Where's the Camp Stanley?
It's over there somewhere. My son was there.
Oh, was he in the Air Force?
He was in the Army.
Oh, okay. Camp Stanley. That must be a new one. I would have heard that. But they sent me to Camp Casey, and they said, put me in a motor pool. And I got a job that I could understand. I'm not a mechanic, but I could understand what I was doing. And there you are.
Did you go up on the DMZ any?
I was up there one time, very close to, but you can't get up to the barbed wire or anything like that. No, I mean, I was in an old machine gun that left over from the war, by the way. You can see the spent casings. But I remember, yes. You remember freedom? I don't know whether you remember it or not, but when I was a kid in high school, I remember the exchange of prisoners coming across a bridge. That's called Freedom Bridge.
Yes.
Freedom Bridge, and I was there, yes.
Okay.
So-
Oh, you were there when at the bridge. Okay. And how long were you in Korea?
1 year.
And did you go into Seoul? Did you
Oh,
make
about
trips in
three
there?
times, about 3 times on leave, and really, the first time I went was a complete disaster.
How's that?
I decided I was going to get about $20 worth of the Han, which was the exchange. The guy said, listen, they prefer American money. I got Han anyway. And I went out, and there was nothing there. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
It was rubble or what?
Well, no, it
Pretty
wasn't
torn up?
necessarily rubble. I saw some tracks left over from a T-34 tank, but I've seen bridges that had been shelled and so forth, and I did really, you often hear the expression, seen people eat out of garbage cans. I really did see that. I really did see that. And that tore me up. I gave that kid some money. And,
Did you, when you went on leave, did you go to another country anywhere?
yes, you
Like
had
Japan?
R&R, yeah, I went to Japan, and I really enjoyed that. Now,
What'd you do there?
well, I'll tell you what most of the guys do. They go to the warehouses and drink beer, but you can do that in Korea.
You can.
But that scared the living daylights out of me, because they talked about, I had seen guys with the venereal disease and so forth, and I'm not saying that I was goody two-shoes, but I'm going to tell you right now, that scared me. That would scare or fear in me.
You saw those films?
Now, I decided, a very interesting situation, I was just walking along the Ginza, the main street of Tokyo. Oh, by the way, my hotel that I stayed at belonged to a Japanese general. It was his home.
Okay.
But anyway, this little old man came up, and he said, he struck up a deal. He spoke excellent English and so forth. And it turned out he was on Tojo's staff. He hated Tojo, and Tojo hated him. And
What he said
hated
then,
him.
wasn't it?
Yes, but he was living hand to mouth, and he was close to 80 years old. And I wanted to see Japan, I'm this country kid, from the armpit of the world in West Virginia. I wanted to get out and see the part of the world, and I did. I saw the great big Buddha at Kamakura and went into it. Wonderful. Nikko, that was magnificent, and I saw some of the old temples. He took me around to them. And, of course, our big treat of the night was we'd go to a different restaurant every night, a big fancy restaurant. I can never forget what was the name of that? The Volga, the Russian.
The Volga?
Yes. And of course, I just knew it was run by communists.
It was.
Because it took so long for them to wait on me and so forth.
No incentive to do anything, did you? Well, while you were in Japan, how did the people treat you?
The Japanese, they were very, very nice.
No problems.
Bad word to use, but they were very, very helpful. They were, I like the Japanese. And big secret of secret, I like the Koreans. It's hard to put sometimes.
Why?
But they steal from you.
How did they treat you?
Well, they were starving to death, and practically every girl was a prostitute, and that was a big turnoff for me. I was not, my background, you might say, and I'm not saying I'm right, but I understand they were hungry, and I understand they'd been through a war and everything. I could understand that, yes.
Did any of them befriend you? Like, were you able to go to a family, a Korean family is what I'm trying to get at?
No.
Talk to them? How about a Japanese, other than the old man?
No, when I was on Okinawa, we had a kamikaze pilot for a cook.
So he didn't make the mission, I guess.
No, he did not make the mission. And we had one of our houseboys his baby died. And of course, we sent him a little gift. And of course, we went to a Okinawan wedding. I'm back in Okinawa now.
Yep.
We went to a wedding, which was quite interesting. First time I ever ate raw fish and seaweed. Not bad, not bad.
Last time or first time?
It was first time, and no, it wasn't last time.
So you've had
just a year ago, I had raw fish in Amsterdam. So
okay. And now you had wanted to go to Europe, and you ended up in Asia. So what do you think about your Asian experience?
I had some bad and rough times. Now, the guys who were in the bang bang had it far more difficult than I did. But I had some rough times in the Army, and I wanted to make a career out of the Army, and it was not wearing thin with me. But I took more out of the Army than I took in. Now, a lot of people may not be able to understand, because after I got out of my 3 years, I was going to go back to college, because look what that Army gave me, my GI Bill, and I got all that education. Bad grades, but I got all
the
that.
education.
Hey, it's just like cryptographic school. They're going to push you right on through anyway.
I got that.
So I got my certification all right. Yes, indeed. It was all right. But I was at Camp Sheridan. They said, now if you will join the reserve,
That's right up here in Chillicothe.
No.
Yeah, Camp Sheridan. Well, which one are you thinking about?
Well, there's only one Camp Sheridan that I know of, and that would, maybe it's Camp Sherman, I don't know, up in Illinois.
Well, maybe it's Camp Sherman in Chillicothe. Sherman Sheridan, you know.
No, well,
Yeah.
but this guy came out, we were being processed out, and he said, now, if you will join the reserves when you get out, all you have to do is serve 1 year. If you serve 1 year, they will never be able to draft you again.
Did you believe that?
Yes. And after the end of the 1 year, you can go up to your company commander and say, look, Jack, you take this and shove it, you know where. I'm getting out now.
That was for you, right?
Oh. And I was in the reserves, and we had one of these sergeants that could barely write his name, trying to start a nice conversation with him. He had one more stripe than I did. And he took a look at my brass, and he said, you got that on wrong. If I do not, I'd court-martial you. I knew I had it on right. He was the one who had it on wrong.
You had your brass on right, he said it was wrong.
Right.
But he had a stripe extra.
Yeah, and I said, that's the last time I've seen the Army do people a lot of dirt and everything, and here's this guy, always good for us to intimidate and browbeat little recruits and so forth, and I don't have to take that junk. So I went to my company commander, I had a year in, and I went to my company commander and I said, I did not tell him what to do with it, but I told him in a polite way that I was going to shove it in.
Okay.
That was it.
Where was you?
That's where I also made up my mind that I would never be a career soldier.
Where was your reserve unit?
In Huntington.
In Huntington. Was that an infantry unit there? Or signal unit? Or?
Experience. I went into the medical corps.
Of course.
They ride in jeeps. They don't have to march.
And everybody likes them. They got that big red cross.
Yeah.
Hey, come on.
Yeah, that really
Okay.
grabbed me. I mean, excuse my French, but you know, any dog that shits on my carpet, he's not going to get away with
I
it.
don't like that either. Now, where else did you go overseas? You were in the Japan and Okinawa.
Well, when I was in
Korea.
Texas, I went on a border town down in Mexico, Villacuña.
Oh, Vietnam.
That's where we all go, and you know what we did down there, and drink beer.
And drank beer. Ate tortillas and drank beer.
Matter of fact, I did. I saw this guy pushing this little cart on the street.
Tortilla
And I
cart.
bought some.
Okay, a tortilla cart. And did you ever get drunk when you were in the Army?
Why drink?
Why
You were 11, you were just 19, 18, 19 years old, and you're away from mommy and daddy.
Mm-hmm.
And the PX, you can, for 60 cents, mind you, you can get well over half a gallon, a pitcher of beer. Just sit there and drink that and go to the movie for 25 cents.
Life is good.
Life was good. It was better on Okinawa, but life was good.
Did you ever get in a fight in the Army?
Darn near it. But I'm not the fighting type, to tell you this guy's truth. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm a coward or anything like that. I mean, I'm quite sure if there was a war, I would do my share of fighting. But I just never, the most I've ever done was just hit each other on the arm, you know. I got a bloody lip here and there, and I've given bloody lips, but that, aside from that, no.
That's not real
No,
fighting.
no,
That's
no
not
big
real
fight, because
fighting.
we were friends right afterwards.
What was the worst thing that ever happened to you in the Army? And if you don't want to say, then next to the
Well,
worst thing.
I can tell you a
You got
war
cold,
story.
okay.
Yeah,
What's your
yes,
war
it was cold.
What's the war story?
We decided we were going to go hunting. We went up around the MGM River, and
This is Korea then.
this is Korea, they gave us, we were going to hunt for, I can't pronounce it right, Buddha. That's pig. And they gave us an M3 submachine gun with 3 rounds.
Is that one
That's
gun
if you're
between the
winning.
3 of you, or how many guys went?
There were about 4 of us.
Okay, one machine gun.
And I dropped that machine gun.
You dropped it.
Yeah, and it went down over the hill and got tangled up in briars and vines, And here's the MGM River looming up at you, you know, and it's way down there, but it looms up, and it's jagged and all that stuff, the ice is jagged. But you know, when you're 20, 21 years old, you're indestructible. So I just went down and grabbed it. Yeah, sure. Hey, John Wayne, buddy, I tell you, I just got that thing. It didn't bother me at all. I wouldn't do that today for $1 million.
$1 million.
$1 million.
And then you did it just for a machine gun.
Yeah. At guard duty, did I tell you about the guard duty I had my first and last time as a sergeant? I had to draw my .45.
Yeah, you almost shot a skinny or a guy or what was it? Almost shot
you got me all confused.
I'm sorry.
No, you didn't.
You got asked.
I'll get it in a minute. He was hiding. And when you're sergeant of the guard, it beats being guard on the duty.
Corporal.
Yeah. And this guy had called me. Naturally, it had to happen to me, and I was only days away from leaving Korea. Not months, not weeks, but days. And of course, they're going to use you as much as they can. So I went down there and I pulled the .45, but you know, they didn't give you any kind of, this is the Army for you. They did not give you ammunition. They just made you look good.
Mm-hmm. You didn't have any
No,
ammo.
but I was going, you know, at least you can scare somebody if you pointed at them.
Mm-hmm.
Not that if I had it loaded, but you know, no way.
Click, click.
He got away too.
Well, what's the best thing that ever happened to you in service?
Best thing in the Army?
Moment of silence there.
No, I had a lot of good times.
Do you ever see,
Well, all right, I'll tell you what, they had tailor-made suits over there. You know, They would send to Hong Kong, you have them tailor-made. Now, this story is good and it's sad. The good part is, it feels so good when you're an old country boy to have somebody to measure you up for a suit and so forth. And you're living in tall cotton, buddy. And they would send it away to Hong Kong and bring it back to you, and you ship it home. And
Wow.
I had about 5 suits done that way, and one horrible sports coat. But you had what's the animal you comb the?
yak?
No.
I don't know.
The South American animal.
Llama, llama?
Yeah. What do you call that material?
Alpaca.
Huh?
Alpaca.
Wool.
Wool.
No, but it was a
Hair.
great.
Mohair.
No.
Oh, why we almost got it.
Let's just forget about it. Anyway, they were expensive.
Ooh, expensive.
They were expensive,
Almost
but they were
military.
cheap for us.
Okay.
They were cheap for us. Now, the sad part of it is, when I got home, it was out of style. Every one of them.
Do you still have them?
No, I gave them away.
They're back in style now.
I had a good one that was a English tweed suit that I loved. I kept it, but I finally gave it away. But you know, after you get so old,
Let me
you
get
don't- you
I'll get a
don't
close
have
up on
that.
that later. What did you do with your uniform?
I gave that away to a gal that was back, you know, during the peacetime.
Oh, he
I
wanted to
gave
wear it during the
her,
march?
Yeah. So I gave it to her.
Oh, her. She wanted to
I
wear it.
still have a shirt, by the way. I still have a shirt.
You have her shirt or yours?
My shirt, my Army shirt.
Okay. And do you keep in touch with anybody you met in the service?
No.
You ever been?
I've met a lot of interesting people.
Uh-huh.
My commanding general was General W.H. Trapnell, and he was one of the first heroes of World War II in Bataan
Oh.
before he was taken prisoner. And he had a retreat where he was holding back the rear, and he put a truck on a bridge and he fired into the carburetor with his .45 and set it on fire, and that destroyed the bridge, burned it down. And they put that in a movie with Robert Taylor. I forgot the name, but I think it's just called Bataan.
Yeah.
Not the John Wayne Back to Bataan, but just the name Bataan, but they put that in.
Shooting the carburetor to set the
Right,
truck on fire.
Right, and
Okay.
he was big with General Skinny Wainwright.
Yeah.
And the first general that came in, you see the Fourth Armored Division was famous because it was under General Patton that went in to relieve Bastogne during the war. But The commanding general was John K. Waters, who was the son-in-law of General Patton.
Oh, I see.
And
Well, did you ever see
Right.
anybody famous while you were in the service? Any movie stars or military?
the guy who married Bing Crosby,
The guy who married him? That's interesting.
the girl,
Oh,
the
the girl,
girl. Did I say guy?
I thought you did. Tell me.
I saw the,
He's
of
so
course, the
famous.
near famous would be the son of Eddie Rickenbacker and the nephew of Sergeant York was in our outfit.
The nephew of Sergeant York?
Right.
Okay, that's interesting. Do you have any pictures or anything from that time? Did you?
Yes, I do. I think I gave them to my son.
Did you bring back any souvenirs?
Oh, yeah, junk.
Junk souvenirs? Okay. Like those little umbrellas you put in drinks and things like that? Well, listen, you got any tattoos you want to talk about?
I almost got a tattoo, by George.
Tell me that story.
I almost got a tattoo down there in Mexico.
You did?
Yeah, oh, Lord, it
That was
was just, it
after
was
the-
a wonderful tattoo. Come to find out, just practically everybody had it.
Oh.
It was a little skunk called Stinky. And of
Well, you
course,
wish you had that today.
my friend and I, we were just a little bit under the weather, and I just came within that much of getting that tattoo. And I said, no, better not.
Or after the tortillas. Charlie, is there anything else you want to say, you want to talk about?
No, all I can say is, I think I've already said this, I took more out of the Army, my service, more out of the Army than I put in. I did not like going to Korea, but I can say that it was an experience. And I guess that's about it.
Okay.
I'm not anti-Army, I'm not anti-service. Like I said, I did want to make a career out of it. I did want to be an officer, though, but if it wasn't for that sergeant, I would have probably been
That
today
piece of-
retired from the Army,
That guy.
if it hadn't been for that sergeant.
Yeah, what an idiot.
And just call a spade a shovel. I mean, I really think that I would have been a good soldier. Oh, boy. Oh.